Welcome to Lives from the Tabletop. Today we are doing episode 9, looking at the third of the decks, the Tzimisce. So let's bring in our guests who are becoming a bit more like regulars now, Antti and Tommy.
Hello.
Antti's
so happy to be here. Who are we going to grill today?
Hopefully Tommy. He's nice and lean.
Nice and what?
I definitely didn't say clean, that's for sure.
Oh, clean. I thought you said lean. Mate, I'm buff.
Buff lad, Tom.
Buff lad.
There's a Tzimisce deck. What does it do? What's its effect?
What's its effect? The Tzimisce deck seems like it's a bleed deck with also this ally retainer package in there. With War Ghouls and the new version of War Ghouls, Vizod. Vizd.
Yeah, Vos the Sophia, like Antti just said, yeah.
Okay.
So, Antti, do you want to tell us what the War Ghoul and Vos the Sophia do?
Yes, they're OP. No. Well, Vos the Sophia is an ally. It costs 3 pool. It has 5 life, 3 strength, and 0 bleed. It has a rush, and when it enters the play, you need to sacrifice your own, another ally or retainer.
Mm-hmm.
So it hits for 3. It can also strike for 3 ranged. And the awesome part is that during your unlock phase, you can discard an ally or retainer card to add 2 life to this ally. And that's pretty nice. Nice.
Yeah, actually, filtering your hand to improve your board state seems pretty good.
And
I'll get rid of this redundant card. It's unique too.
It's unique, so you can just bin off the rest of them.
Yeah, so you can run more than one, get rid of extras.
Yep.
Very good point.
Sorry, I also forgot to mention it is a purely Anarch deck, so it makes use of all the good Anarch cards like Anarch Revolt, Anarch Free Press, and
Pipers.
Piper.
Yeah,
Piper's a big one. Yeah.
Let's talk Pipers, Antti. You're as the only one of us who's actually played it. Do you want to give us a
Piper?
Well, I can tell you a story how difficult it was to play them before. Like, I scored the whole of Finland 2018 to get hold of 6. I do know now that there's like 12 or something before Barcelona because it was a promo card there. But still, like, it used to be very rare. And now this deck has 2 of them.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think we're going to see a lot of high sales for this deck just for people trying to get Pipers. There are quite a lot of new cards in it, though, as well.
Yeah.
There's Monstrous Form, which is a nice dual card. It requires both Protean and Dominate. The basic, it's a combat card, only usable before range is determined. This vampire gets +1 strength this combat. But you can only play 1 each round. So you've got to kind of press if you want to get bigger than that. But advanced, it's actually a +1 stealth action, so it's quite different. Put the card on the vampire. During combat, you can lock this to get +1 strength this round, or 1 maneuver, or a press. That's an interesting way around the limitation of playing 1, because advanced, you can do the action, put it on him, then get into a fight. First round, play a Monstrous Form, which then gives you 3 strength from the get-go. Quite an interesting card. I don't think particularly powerful, though. It's reminiscent of what was the old one that gave the Vicissitude card that gave +1 strength and prevents 1 damage. Horrid Form, yeah. So it's fairly like that, but you can't do this. It doesn't cost blood, which is nice, but you can't keep stacking and stacking. So it seems a bit more grindy. It's more like a weighted walking stick kind of effect, I suppose. Invigorate's a new card. If you want to tell us about that one, Tommy.
Yeah, so Invigorate is it's a new Anarch card. Unfortunately, it doesn't give you a chance to use multiple disciplines, which is usually on theme for Anarch cards. But it's a triple discipline card. So you've got Animalism, and it gives you +1 strength for the action. Dominate. This Anarch can't be blocked by allies, which always good. Although I think that's going to be the least used one in the V5 limited. And then for Protean, you can make your hand strikes aggravated for this action. So it's pretty nice. It's pretty nice. I wish it was multi-discipline, but you can't have everything. Card's still really good.
Yeah, using them all would certainly make it very strong. Like, getting the ag damage at extra strength, and an ally can't block you. So you're like, right, well, I can't be blocked by allies, and so only vampires can block me, and I'm going to hit them for 2 ag.
Yeah,
pretty nice start.
Yeah.
And
but it
goes
does
well
have
with
an art of pseudo Igor, who is the guy who is running all the Lucky tournaments. So if you have your
is that meant to be? Is that Igor?
No, it's not really Igor, but it looks exactly like him. So if you get your own signed by Igor in an event, they will be more powerful.
Is that how you get the multidiscipline side of it? If it's signed,
that's how it's signed.
That's actually his signature, isn't it? Multiple disciplines can be used.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it does combo well with the monstrous form we just mentioned as well.
Yeah.
So if you take the action to play monstrous form, and then in combat, during your action, you play this for the +1 strength. You only get blocked, and you're all strength. So you can, even though the cards don't stack themselves, because this being an action modifier, you can only play the 1, which I think is why it's such a shame you can't use more than 1 discipline as well. Because if you play it for the strength, they know you can't play it for the ag.
Yeah.
But
there's also quite a lot of prevents in the other decks as well, or dodges or whatever. So.
Well, I imagine if they had allies and you wanted to fight, you would choose the strength, because the strength tends to be really good against allies, right? Most allies can be easily killed by hitting them for strength damage. And then if you don't want to fight the ally, you go for
the dominate.
You go for the dominate one, yeah.
No allies today.
Yeah, so it's fairly versatile. I wouldn't say incredibly powerful by any means, but it still seems quite good.
Yeah, it's a nice trick to have.
I think it's whatever you need it to be at whatever point.
It does a bit of everything in the traditional toolbox style. We've also got Obedient Flesh. Antti, do you want to tell us about that card?
Yeah, sure. Obedient Flesh is an action modifier or combat card. It requires Dominate and Protean. It costs 1. On Inferior, you get +1 stealth, and allies get minus intercept. So that's pretty good. I like it. And the superior version is only usable before the range is determined. This round, this vampire gets +1 strength, 1 optional maneuver, and can prevent 1 damage. You can only play 1 each round, like with the other one, but yeah, it's fairly decent. I like it.
There's a lot of different effects to stack the extra damage, so you can hit for quite a lot, really. You don't just run 10 of 1 card, which I actually quite like, because there's kind of a boringness to that, isn't there? I'll play 13 taunt signposts in this list, and every combat I'll play 1.
What are you talking about, PJ? I definitely don't play 15 diversion in my Tarek deck.
Or 30 after tablets.
It's made deck building so much harder now. I've actually got to think about what the cards I put in and the numbers.
Disgusting.
How could you do this?
Creativity's occurs.
I know.
There's also the last combat card that's new. It's called Sculpt the Flesh. Now, I really like this card. Requires both Tzimisce and the Protean.
Requires Tzimisce.
Yeah, as in it's one of those.
Clan only cards.
Like Hunger Armada, it requires both. The basic is strike, hand strike, aggravated. Sure, it's a Protean card. It's kind of what we expect it to do. And the advanced is strike, hand strike at +1 damage. Put this card on the opposing minion. During the unlock phase, the attached minion burns 1 blood or life. and it can be burned by minions, but as a +1 stealth action.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Scorpion's Touch, which is an old Quietus card that I really wanted to play, but never could because it was terrible. Which this reminds me of. It's a hand strike. Put this card on the opposing minion to get -1 strength. Any vampire can burn as a +1 stealth action. And then an advanced Quietus, it's as above, and they burn a Blood or Life during their lock phase. So it's the same as advanced as this basically, but with a minus strength. But this has the fact that the basic is aggravated damage, which is obviously a much better basic.
Oh yeah.
So I like that I can finally play Scorpion's Touch, but with a different name in a better discipline.
It actually does stuff.
Yeah. Like, I'm not sure I like it that much in this deck, but I will very likely be doing a deck built around Sculpt the Flesh.
I would love that card with the old Tzimisces and their raw specs, but not that much in this.
Yeah. A lot of the cards, I'm like, I wish I could play that with. But I like the idea. You can play it with Pulled Fangs. So you can strike for 2, put this card on your guy, you're going to burn a blood every turn. Take a damage for the Pulled Fangs, and you can't hunt. And it's like, well, this is a problem. Yeah. And then there's one last card that's new in the library. One with the land. I think this is a very interesting card. And
I think this card is great.
This is the one I really want to run with Old Crypt Tzimisce, because I think it would just be like, so the Old Crypt Tzimisce, a lot of the problem was playing like a wall deck with them. They're incredible blocker, they're great at combat, but they just take damage all the time. They have no prevention, very little ways to gain blood back. So having this card, I think, would help. It's only usable during an action directed at you, so it's a reaction.
Or a card you control.
Requires Protean and Tzimisce. At basic, it gives you +2 intercept. And at advanced, it's only usable by a locked vampire. This vampire locks and attempts to block. If they block, neither combatant can strike during the first round of the resultant combat. So
love it.
Absolutely love that.
I love that it's unlock as well.
Yeah.
I'm tired of Wake's bad. Unlock's great.
Unlock, you stealth through, deflection. I'm still unlocked, but I've deflected your bleed.
I'm absolutely trying to find ways how to exploit that with ghoul retainers and Sengir daggers. Like,
yeah, everyone's trying to get around it. For me, I'm just like, so you're saying I can block and not take damage? I love it. It's similar. It's not a combat ends, but it's not far off it, right? Like, I'll unlock and block, and then you go, well, I'll do, and you go, whoa, stop there.
And with this script, you can combo it with Carrion Crows. Sounds good to me.
Well, a lot of people excited about the idea that you can get.
Unfortunately, no animalism combat cards in the deck again. Not really. Which
true.
I think they're really missing out. Sorry. They've got Invigorate. Yeah, but it's just what I said about the Ravnos deck. Where's the Carrion Crows? Where's the Age from Bats? Where's the animalism combat stuff? Why is that not in here?
Well, this deck's definitely built to play it at the combat end. But I do think we can explore a bit more of it later on. But on the Ghoul Retainer thing, with the Dominate, they also have access to Thoughts Betrayed, which I mentioned in the last video. You can. It costs 2 blood, and I think it's advanced to do this, but it's your opponent can't play strike cards. So you can basically go, you can't play strike cards, and then ag them, which is great. But it will synergize with the one with the land. So you can do it both forward and backwards. So you can protect yourself, stop them striking, be aggressive, they block you, stop them striking. I think it's quite maybe there's an angle there, It's quite odd in this though, because as you guys said, like, there's no Carrion Crows, so there's no way to abuse the fact that you can't strike.
Yeah.
Because you'll stack up all this strength. So you tend to not play your combat cards unless you want to press and go again next round.
Yeah.
And then the opposing Gangrel is just like, cool, Earth Melt.
Yeah.
I have 17.
So with this deck, you're basically just trying to, as you put it in the last video, the first thing you do is make sure you don't die. It seems pretty all right at that. It can defend itself fairly well and go to a longer game. You'll use those governs are probably going to be down. Govern your line to put 3 blood down on your crypt to bring out more guys, and I think you just want to get ahead on the table, similar like the Raptors one. That's how I think I'd look at it. Because there's Child of the Revolution in here as well, so you can put a lot of bodies on the table. And then, of course, you resolve the coolest card in the deck, the Warghoul. So the Warghoul is a not quite as busted version of the Vost of Sophia, but it's still really strong. It's not unique, so you can have multiple of these in play. It's a ghoul with 5 life, 4 strength, and 0 bleed. Requires Tzimisce.
It's got a
costs
prevent
3 pull. Yeah, it does. Yeah, yeah. The Voz doesn't have that actually, does it? But the Voz gains life instead.
And it can also do ranged damage as well. So you maneuver away.
Yeah, basically, you have the same downside. You have to burn an ally or retainer when it comes into play, or you lose it. It can enter combat when anyone has a directed action, and it can prevent 1 damage each round. You can also, weirdly as well, you can lock it and burn it to burn a location.
That's
actually
that's super good.
It is. It really is.
Have you heard of Unnamed having secure havens? Not anymore.
Not today.
Yeah. Sorry.
I just noticed about there is a difference between Warghouls. Warghouls can only fight vampires, as in it can only rush vampires. The Voz of Sophia can go for anyone.
Oh,
so it can jump on your allies. Sorry,
that's
not
really
on your
well.
allies. It can jump on their allies.
Yeah, that's well spotted, mate. That's a really important distinction.
Rushmo and Carlton, yeah.
Yeah, that could be relevant.
My Voz to Sophia is going to come up with my Warghoul
combo.
Right. See who's the best. Yeah, they're both incredible allies who can just dominate the table. One Warghoul will scare the crap out of everyone. You'll see as soon as you resolve that, you'll see the exact mood of the room change. But as Antti pointed out, there's a reprint of a great card, Piper. And Piper allows you to avoid the fact that they can block by playing a MasterCard that a ready or locked anarch you control employs or recruits a retainer ally from your hand. It's not an action, can't be blocked. And then you lock the anarch. So you just go, you still have to pay the cost of burning a minion and the pool, but unblockable Warghoul in a precon. Did you ever think you'd see that, Antti, in a precon? An unblockable Warghoul?
No, I haven't. And I'm quite happy to see it here.
Yeah. Definitely.
I love my Pipers, as many other people most likely know.
Another great card. There's a bunch of stealth in the deck with Earth Control and cards like that, but another great card, Former Mist. Perfect combat card for this style of deck. If you blocked, you can end the combat and continue the action as if you're unblocked with an extra stealth. So I don't see how you stop the Warghouls in this deck.
Well, there's also a form of bat to give you -1 on their guys as well. Yeah,
there's a bunch of stealth. If they do catch you, you can combat ends and continue, or you can Piper. So getting those Warghouls into play is not going to be tough by any stretch. It's going to be a real simple matter. And
I don't think it's going to be hard to get them in play. It's just that you've got to take 2 actions to get them in play because you've got to recruit the other stuff first.
Yes.
So then, Tommy, do you feel like something's missing?
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of they could just have more retainers and more allies, and they could also have Jake Washington, who's a card that is ridiculously in need of a reprint right now.
That would have been a really strong addition.
The card is I think it's over £20 right now because I think Luke was trying to buy some recently, and
it was last reprinted in Parliament of Shadows last month.
It's It's so in dire need of a reprint.
Yeah, you can buy a Parliament of Shadows for the cost of buying a single J Washington, which is crazy. But so have some Zilla's Valleys for free and a bunch of Lazogga.
I don't even think it would make the deck outrageous to have it in, because you can't even play Wargul turn 1 with Jake. Because no, you can. Sorry, yes, you can.
No, because you need the Tzimisce, so it'll be turn 2.
Sorry, I'm wrong. Sorry, in my head I was like, no, wait, you can't play it. But then because you don't have the ally, but then you have the ally because it's Jake.
Yeah.
But then Jake isn't a Tzimisce, so you can't play it turn 1.
So if you get out Prentice Derby is the only 4-cap vampire. Oh, and there's Susie Kano. So you've got 2 vampires who can come out in the first turn. So I think maybe it was just a balance issue in terms of testing against other starters. Getting a turn 2 Wargul seems a bit unfair against a lot of them.
Which is right, but at the same time, you need the deck to actually do something. And I think getting the Wargul combo off is going to be really hard. Plus, the guys that you're burning, like, I don't want to burn Homunculus. I'd never want to burn Homunculus. The dog, I feel sad about burning the dog because he's a good boy.
Yeah,
but
he's a good boy.
You're burning the Revenant. Okay, like that's fine, but it's. Do you want to burn? Do you want to burn Raven Spy? To get a Wargul?
Yeah. Sorry, guys. It's the dogs. The dogs are going back to the jet engines again. Like that's how it goes. because like the thing is that with this deck you can like Piper a dog, and then you already have a Wargul or Vost in play that does a rush, and the dog gives that thing a press, and when somebody is bleeding you, the dude who is now locked from playing Piper can just burn the dog to be unlocked, and because there are so many vampires with superior dominate in the deck, you can just like play deflection.
Yeah, but if I had to burn a dog to play Wargul, all I'd be thinking about is that's 1 less round of combat I've got now. 2 less round of combat. Because the other thing is you can burn the dog to unlock a minion. It doesn't say vampire, so you can unlock a Wargul to block with it. And you could also, you could like on the key Vive, you Wargul and then get around the unlock issue later on by using the dog. Maybe I don't know. I think the dog's so good. I understand there's going to be times that you're going to have to burn the dog, but it shouldn't be a plan A.
Speaking of dog,
yeah,
that dog wants to be Wargul.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm a genius. Right, Blast Chantry.
Just get 5 more dogs and sell a
Blast Chantry. I've got a new merch idea for you. Dog Wargul costumes for Halloween.
Yes. What about? Oh no! What about the on the key Vive monster? I'll see if I can get the pictures that Mark's drew off them to put up. But like, if we could get a plushie of that, I'd have a plushie on the key Vive monster. A snuggle for bedtime, be great.
It's got so many arms for cuddling.
But yeah, so there's Revenant, which is basically a Raven Spy. He's a retainer who gives you +1 intercept. Homunculus is great because it's free and it's Protean, so most of you guys can play it.
Best card.
Yeah, maybe there should have been a couple more Homunculus so you don't care about losing it.
Yeah.
Maybe like Jackie Thurman's and stuff. That's a retainer cost 0 blood, gives you maneuver in a combat. Yeah. I think that would be quite good in this deck.
You could have had Mr. Winthrop as well. As just like
Mr. Winthrop. True.
And honestly, there's something quite obvious missing from the deck if we talk about allies. Where are all the Crywolves? Like, if Tzimisce are Anax now, where are the Crywolves?
Yeah, Crywolf's a bit of an odd one. It's not that strong, but it is free to play. It's an ally, so it would be easy to just burn to play this guy. You know what?
Continue on the theme of making Warguls out of dogs, like
you could have Cryptsons as well. Cryptsons would be great because it combos with it combos with one of the land.
Sure.
Yeah, it's a Cryptsons instead of Formists. Let's go.
Yeah. You block me. All right. Combat. Nice. Let's go.
Cool beans. Yeah, maybe you could have replaced Former Mist with some Cryptons. That's another card that kind of needs a reprint. There's not many out there really.
Yeah.
And another one that might have slotted in easier. I feel like it would have took away from the star power of the War Ghoul here, but because realistically, it's not a War Ghoul deck; it's a deck with War Ghouls in. Like I think if you have a War Ghoul, you sit on it for a while and then you burn a Retainer later to play it. I think it's like a long game, and then you drop the War Ghoul when you want to start like laying the beat down. And similar to the Nozza deck says in it, you don't play your creeping sabotages early. You want to wait until like it's late in the game where you can defend them. And I feel like it's a similar idea with War Ghoul where you don't try and slam it straight away. You just know you're gonna eventually get it, and it's like it seals the deal when you do play it.
I don't know. The deck is fine. Like for me, like I feel the deck is fine. It's just very expensive because you have to buy like 5 or 6 Parliament of Shadow Lasambras, and then you have to buy 3 of these, and that's your deck. Like it's just very expensive, but it's fine.
Yeah,
but that's what I'm saying. No, I don't think. I think they've designed it to not be a War Ghoul deck. I think if it was more War Ghoul focused, it would be very different. You'd have Jake Washington in it.
Playing?
You'd have Ossian in it, maybe, just like a full-on ally deck. But yeah, Ossian I'd love to see. I don't know if I actually said that. I'm going off on one. That's what I was trying to say. Like it might take away from the War Ghouls, but I think Ossian would be a nice addition. Maybe Carlton Van Wyck, you could go all in on allies, but I don't think that's what they would try to build.
Yeah,
and
I don't know. I mean, if I'm playing Tzimisce, which I'm never doing, I'm playing it for War Ghouls. Like I think that's the only reason why I'd play Tzimisce.
Yeah. But
maybe cut the 2 random Child of the Revolutions for.
I don't know what they do in that deck, to be honest.
I don't know why they're here. I really don't.
They can play War Ghoul, but I'd rather play. I'd rather play someone.
They can be pipered for the War Ghoul. You can pipe your child.
Okay, that's the purpose, right? Well,
I'm quite stoked about the new Tzimisce, like you might realize from this, but like 2006 when I started playing this game, Tzimisce were my first serious deck, so to speak, and having them join the Anarch side, which is like I've named myself Baron of a certain city a long while ago. That just makes me happy. And like when I first heard that there will be a clan full of mini Stanislavas, I was just thinking like, this is going to break the game. Like this is absolutely going to break the game. Like the new cards might not be that strong. Like individually, they might not be that strong. But the thing is, like the deck has 2 barons who have superior dominate, and they're still like Anarchs. You have Protean, you have Dominate, you have Animalism. Like you have access to the best combatant in the game. You have access to the best bloating card / bleeding card in the game. You have access to the best unlock / intercept card in the game. Like they just have best everything in the game. Like I'm happy that the vampires themselves are tuned so that this isn't completely over the top. But like talking out of the precon, like other options than the precon, we're going to see a lot of Tzimisce. Like I don't know. For example, the Crywolf, let's spam some War Ghouls to the table. Like that's an idea. I'm not saying it's a good one, but we will see that. I'm sure of it. And then again, if you go the full Jake Washington Piper route with the changes to Azure tablets and just like looking at, let's say, Neserian, 6-cap vampire, superior dominate, superior animalism, which means she can she can play superior deflections and can play a superior Underbridge Stray. While you control no locations, Neserian gets -1 bleed. While you control one or more locations, Neserian gets +1 vote. So basically that means because you are playing that many Jake Washingtons and Pipers, you will have this one vampire that kind of requires you to have a Parthenon. Okay, good thing, because Parthenon is not so contested anymore. And then you just go from there. Basically, Neserian is just like saying, I'm a 6-cap, I can do a superior deflection, I can Piper out whatever you need. Sounds awesome. And that's just one archetype of the deck. Like you can go straight into the like Form of Mist, Govern, Bleed archetypes. Like it's just insane.
Yeah, that's one thing I think you missed off when you're talking about like the best stuff. They've got the 2 best combat ends cards in the game as well. Earthmeld and Form of Mist are both just so far above every other combat ends.
Yeah,
I think there's so much we can do with them.
Every time I see someone play Earthmeld and I've got Majesty in my hand, I just feel like such an idiot. Like,
You should play the Jihad versions and cheat like they used to be free, you know?
I do.
Well, yeah, I think there's so much you can do with this deck, but I don't think this deck knows what it's doing. I feel like it's suffering because they need to make a bunch of new Tzimisce cards.
I think they also need to balance it as well.
Yeah,
and the balance factor as well. Like the a lot of the crypt are quite plain. There's not a lot of special text in there, and one of them's got a downside, which I've not seen in a long while. But the disciplines are that powerful because I believe one has to pay blood when they're blocked.
Yes,
but I mean that's
Maria Lena.
Yeah, being a 5-cap with advanced protein and dominate just seems like this is going to be a problem. So I think it's fine. The crypt seems solid. A lot of the new cards are great. I don't have an issue with them. I just don't think the deck's that strong on its own. I think when you get it needs more work than the others. Like Tommy said before, between recording, before you were on the same day. Oh no. Yeah, he mentioned to me while you were having a smoke before that like the Ravnos deck seems so strong out the box. The Salubri deck seems really strong out the box. This one requires some customization, I think.
Mm-hmm. But it's fine. Like you have a clan that has Protean and Dominate. That's going to break stuff. I'm happy that, for example, Maria Lena has the downside, because the 5-cap with those 2 big superior disciplines would be absolutely a problem without it. Like, we could go on to have a long talk about the old Happy Families, build your own card kind of thingies from the early 2000s, and like having Dominate and Protean on the same clan. Like those vampires would be super expensive just for those said disciplines, but still, like, I don't know, I'm happy that the vampires themselves aren't like too over the top. I mean, like, for example, Adreno Manaura, because the press that he has is mandatory.
He's interested.
So something like, at least it makes you think like, do you want to really build your govern chain so that your first vampire might be like really screwed over by some kind of combat deck or so on?
Like for me, I think the biggest thing I'd change is the combat package. Some of the cards are great, but with the war goals, I feel like you want them to be able to use some of these combat cards. So personally, I would cut the monstrous forms and all the new stuff in the combat package and add in Trap, Target Vitals,
Fake Outs.
I can't remember Fake Out. That's exactly the card I was trying to think of. Yeah, like those disciplineless cards, because you've also got Childhood Revolution. So the idea that I'll bleed you for 1 with a Childhood Revolution, and if they block, you can go, cool, Target Vitals, press Target Vitals. You torpid my guy that cost me 1 blood to make. And I've just took 6 beads off you. It seems like a reasonable strategy to me, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But but instead there's a lot of cards they can't play. I'd keep the Former Mists. Yeah, and take out the Sculpt the Flesh as Obedient Flesh is good though, because it gives you the stealth as well. So it's a nice combat card if you do get caught, but you might not get caught because you've got it, which is great. But yeah, the Monstrous Form's not doing it for me in this list. I think if you cut the War Ghouls and the support package, it's also a good deck. Like because you're trying to set up these War Ghouls, but if you take them out and put in a bit more focus, maybe some deep songs set into combat with people.
Well, it does have a Haven Uncovered.
Yeah. Yeah, say you got Haven Uncovered, maybe add in a few deep songs that for the versatility of bleed and extra. Because it gives you it requires analysis of basic, gives you +1 bleed, but then advanced you can enter a combat and they become the active minion. So you can also kind of get a gauge of whether they're going to blow you out before dropping all these cool combat cards.
Yeah, and I feel like we should give a name to the monster in the room, which is of course Warghoul. But the thing is that these dudes really do have dominate, so they're not just gonna rush you; they're also gonna grave rob you.
Yeah, that's true. Grave robbing in this deck that would have tipped it a bit. Yeah, grave robbing in this deck is.
And this is kinda like happy, dreamy fantasy land kind of thingy, but I'm really excited also to play Thanks for the Donation in this deck. It's an old card from Sabbath or something.
Okay.
+1 stealth action, it only has inferior version. Put this card in play and choose a card that you are contesting with another Metasole. Your cost to avoid yielding the contest card of the card is now paid by your prey.
Oh wow!
Any minion may still burn this card. Blah blah blah. Because
do they have to pay?
I'm like happy to play a lot of Dreams and a lot of Jakes and a lot of Parthenons in this deck, just to like be able to function. And now that I have Dominate, why not? Let's make my prey pay for the contest that will happen.
Yeah.
Wow, yeah. Okay. I've just read it. Sorry. You decide whether or not you yield, so you just keep going on. Yeah, that's cool. I was gonna say that'd be really bad if they just like yield.
Yeah, and like with vicissitude, you used to be able to lobotomize your Warghoul so that they can't be stolen with presence actions and so on. But now that you have Dominate, you can play your own Far Masteries, and I think that's far more powerful also.
Yeah, that's a good point as well. The ability with Far Mastery lets you steal allies, so running it so that you can steal your own back. Or if someone else happens to be playing it as well, get ahead by stealing those.
Yeah, I feel like at least some kind of Warghoul versions will emerge straight to the top, like tier 1 easily, because like you have like Assampons and goals and unmaskings, and then you have deflections going on, so you're blocking every D action with 2 intercept and like deflecting bleeds, and then you have your Warghouls and like being able to grave rob and all the aforementioned like silly Dominate cards. Like it's going to be awesome. Like it's going to be very powerful, especially when you think about the requirements for that kind of deck, which are like you for fully functioning thingy, you need like superior animalism, you need superior Dominate, and the smallest guy in this crypt is 5 cap that can do it. So you can build your deck like you can have like 5 cap, 7 cap, 6 cap, which all fill those requirements, and then you still can put your 4 cap and 3 cap in it and be happy about it. Like it's going to be fast and it's going to be very annoying to play against.
Especially because the crypt can do anything. Like you can play this defensively, you can play it aggressively, you can play a combat deck, you can play an ally deck. Like this crypt can be, it's going to be unpredictable. Like if you get to a final table and you've not seen them and they put their 3 guys on the table, you're going to be like, what am I playing against?
Which version is this?
yeah. And I think we're going to see a lot of different decks, and I think that's what's so interesting about this list is I think it's going in 3 different directions, and all of them are going to be top tier.
Yep.
Yeah. Maybe not in its base form though.
Yeah.
No. I think like I say, if you put traps and a combat package that the Warghouls could play,
Traps would be insane.
I think
with
this
Warghouls.
automatically becomes a good deck. And it's just obsessed with the Child Revolutions in there and Warghouls in there, but
I really
all
don't
the combat
understand
cards are disciplined. It's well, like you say, it's the tap for the piper, but I think the idea of it,
I don't think it actually is. Yeah, like
no, I think that's
no way
exactly
they
what
go.
it's there for.
Really?
Just imagine if you could make Warghouls out of your Child of Revolutions, like, haha, come join
yeah,
the
if you could turn
movement.
the turn the kids into Warghouls, yeah.
No, you can't, but that would be cool.
Turn your kids into Warghouls.
Like, come to the dark side, I'll make a Warghoul out of you.
Just sellotape them together. It's fine. Yeah.
Jesus.
I'm looking
That was
forward
a
to
weird
it. Anyway.
night, and now I have 4 arms.
When I first heard the discipline spread that Tzimisce were getting, I was like, I can't wait to build Warghouls with form a mist and blow everyone out. We lost Tommy. And then I saw the precon and I was like, oh, now everyone's going to be doing it.
Yeah.
I'll still probably do it though.
It's going to be sweet. Like, I'm happy to see Warghouls back. Like, it's one of the first powerful cards that I saw back then. I remember how hard it was to get hold of those. Like, I don't know, it was like 1 per precon or something like that back then, and not that many people were that interested about Tzimisce's back then. Like, I was hoarding them at one point. I have plenty.
Yeah, well, I knew it was going to go. Well, they're on print demand as well, aren't they? So if people want more, you can always get them there. I think I've. Well, we tend to talk about matchups as well. Do you think there's any decks that cause this an issue? Out of the precon world of 5e.
Yeah. Well,
I think the
precon world,
the Salubri one does.
Yeah.
You just block, and then you can't get your Warghouls. Like you're so reliant on Piper.
Yeah, well, that's true. Like Antti said, though, you buy a couple of these.
And also, like, once again, in this world of precons, like, Banu Hakims are gonna cause problems. That's just gonna, a Warghoul, that's 6 resources. No, sorry, 5 resources for me.
Oh,
I'm
wow,
happy
yeah,
to do
sorry,
this.
yeah. The Banu Hakim guys can just
especially
steal your life.
I think I need to raise the point here that even though I'm always saying that Banu Hakim are great, like the precon is great, but they're not that great in tournaments. Like, they're annoying, but they're not like tier 1 in my opinion.
The problem with Banu Hakim in tournaments is they lack defense, right? So they'll have this great setup, they'll start doing well, and then they get bled for 8 and go, cool.
Yeah.
We can't deflect.
You have like Funmi at the moment, but still, like, it's not enough to have one vampire that can bounce.
And you've got you can't rely on it then. Like, running the card seems not great if you've only got one guy you can rely on, and then you've got
I think I need to take a shower afterwards. Like, I've played so many games with Axinua that
you can. Like, Banu Hakim have second trad, and that's their defensive package. So if you can get more than 2 stealth a few times, they can't stop you. Well, I think, and these guys can form a mist through that. So I think that's why I really like combat end stuff in this deck. I think if you were playing Banu Hakim, you let them resolve the Warghoul and then take it out, right? Block the Warghoul or let it enter combat with you, and then go over there and steal all the life. Because and for those who don't know, if the card says you can steal blood, it also lets you steal life. It's just built into the rule. Because this deck's got no maneuver. So, like, in an ideal world, they'd run away, and then you go, right, well, I'm following you. and I'm going to target vitals and hit you for 6 and send you to Torpor. Whereas in this deck, if they run over there, you've just got to look at them. Like your Wargul's gonna, unless you can underbridge straight to press, your Wargul's gonna lose to a sniper rifle.
Well, it goes back to what we were saying before, yeah, how that it has animalism, but it doesn't have any animalism combat cards. Again, so like, where are the carrying crows? Where are the aids from bats?
I don't even need them. I want trap, and I want presses and maneuvers that aren't disciplined. I think, and target vitals, which to get that extra 2 damage, I think it's a big deal in a list like this.
Yeah, target vitals would be good, wouldn't it?
If you moved away from Wargulls, I think there's also potential with just like toolbox using some stealth, some intercept, and some bleed boosts. I think that's what it may be lacking. Maybe get the new animalism card in here to the Ravnos bleed card, break the bonds, get it to get your plus bleeds in, or some deep songs, probably better. But yeah,
that's actually not a bad idea. That's like if you build a deck so that you have bondings, like if you have superior dominate and play a lot of bondings, you can just like Garibaldi Meucci the new
break the bonds.
Be happy about it. Like
Yeah.
that's fine. There's so many ways to build a new Tzimisce, and like I'm very happy that we finally get this out.
Yeah, I believe it's arrived in Finland now.
Yeah. I
probably
got mine on, like on Monday or something.
Oh, sweet. Oh, there's also Steel Tenacity you could play. Be really good in this.
Ah, true.
Steel Tenacity requires an arc. Don't replace the landing action, but if you would replace it, you can instead replace it with this card from the Ash-Shape, so you can keep it in your hand. You don't even need Garibaldi. It lets you, with Dominate, bleed a +1 bleed, or in combat, you can Animalism, strike, hand strike, or melee weapon strike at +1 damage with an optional press. So the optional press goes great with all this strength stacking stuff that they've got. So I think I'm surprised it didn't make that, but I guess because it's got a quietus mode, which they don't really want to be printing anymore.
Yep.
But that card would go perfect in this deck.
Yeah, true.
If you drop the Wargulls and go on just a pure vampire toolbox thing, I think it's a great angle.
Like, I kind of feel like everything that this crypt is able to do is very powerful, but everything is kind of expensive, and that's the only thing that's it really has it in range. Like, if this crypt or deck would have some kind of card like Touch of Valeren or something like this, it would be completely insane. But since a couple of the vampire have like effective downsides, and like if you go the whole, play a govern Oath control, form of mist into deflection, that's a lot of resources. So that's what really going to keep it down or in check.
It definitely needs a Carfax Abbey, I'd say.
And Jakes.
Some more game and Jakes, yeah.
Just to throw it out there, sorry, I didn't hear anything of what you guys were saying for the past 2 minutes.
Oh,
but
that's all right.
I agree completely.
Good, because we've been slagging them off for 2 minutes solid.
Wow. Also, I don't know if you noticed. The Ravnos video was half an hour. Both of these have been an hour.
Yeah.
That's
I have.
message.
I have. Yeah.
There just wasn't much to say about the Ravnos deck. It's like, it's great.
Yeah, it's pretty strong. It bleeds. It blocks. It does both good.
Yeah. Well, like honestly, with the Ravnos, it was like, well, you bleed. The big decision is what card are you going to bleed with?
Yeah. That's the thing, because the Ravnos deck's very straight to the point, whereas this deck and the Salubri deck toolboxy makes it more interesting anyway, but there's so many directions you could take the list, whereas the Ravnos list had a concept and it stuck to it,
Yeah.
But yeah, like as you're saying with blood, like with dominating Protean, it was always going to cost a lot of blood to do whatever you're doing. You've got Protean's one of the best toolbox disciplines. It's incredible, but it comes at a cost unless it's combat ends, which is free for some reason. And dominate bleeds better than anything, but at a cost. So I think you're right. Like with Jake Washington, you've got the whole War Ghoul triggering thing, but you can also just play a bunch of Jake Washingtons and burn them to get 4 blood on your guy. So bleeding until there's nothing left on your dude is easy to do, especially with the one who burns the blood when you're blocked. So go for the bleacher, you block,
or you can put in
miss
some
through.
Dominicas and get everybody a perfectionist.
Yeah.
Joke.
That's also an option. Do it. He doesn't want you to contest. Do it.
Do you think they're gonna print some like upgrade kits for these decks at some point? I think that'd be very helpful.
That will happen. There's going to be new bloods on this, like it was for the old rare ones.
Yeah, I was thinking about this recently, and the exact term you just used, upgrade kit. I thought they keep making new bloods, which are like little decks that go with. And I thought, why don't we just do reprint bundles? The cards that go with the strategy will help that deck, or take that deck in a different direction, like the Brujar one had the Brujar debate stuff in the new blood, which was totally different to, and the what's it called? Child of Revolutions were in that. So we get some great new cards. We get some old reprints. We also get a bunch of stuff that we don't need. Like a lot of the new bloods have been filled with, more copies of Lost in Crowds, more copies of Enchant Kindred. Everyone's got enough.
Cards that are literally pennies.
Yeah, cards that are coasters for even new players immediately. Yeah. So why not just do an upgrade pack with the same amount of cards, but put in the stuff that people need or might want, and then you can inspire deck ideas with it too.
You could call it the superior pack.
The superior pack.
I wouldn't be surprised if that's like the long-term plan for BCP.
And if not, remember us, Hugh. Remember us, yeah.
Well, we've had a few reprint bundles and they've been quite successful.
Yeah.
So it makes sense to kind of go with that rather than making decks constantly. It also helps with creativity, because as I was chatting with one of our locals a while ago about it, and because everything's getting released as decks, it makes it harder to come up with new concepts as a player, because all the new product is already defined as a deck. So we've got to draw back on all the old stuff to make it different. Whereas if they just give us a box of stuff and went, there's some cool presence cards to use with that presence clan, and you're like, oh, that's interesting. I
think you could also go a bit deeper on that as well, because there was something that you were saying the other week that, like, I think it was something like all the guys in all the decks can play all the cards in all the decks. That's good because you're not going to have dead draws, but at the same time, it doesn't help you put logs in a fire. It doesn't help you. It doesn't help you try and develop the deck into something else, because you're like,
it's true, because everyone's got the clan disciplines. So if there's no outer clan disciplines, there's no like, oh, this guy works with this guy. It's
almost like
this guy doesn't have the Salubri disciplines, so I'm not putting him in the Salubri deck.
It's almost like they've made it whereas this is how you play this clan.
Yeah, exactly.
This is the only way to play them.
That's an interesting point, because I think that they've actually done it to help out new players. Like I think that's a decision.
Oh, yeah. But at the same time, it doesn't help you move to other stuff. It doesn't help you build on the deck that well, because you're like, oh, I just have to play these cards.
We're seeing it more now that more high capacity vampires are coming out. We're seeing a bit more variance in that. Like there's a bunch of guys with celerity in the Salubri deck, so that can kind of push you towards run and force march, maybe some maneuvers and stuff, But I think the one thing I don't like about having all the guys who can play everything in the deck is it doesn't help new players learn, because they don't go right. They don't check the disciplines on the card. They'll just play the card. This guy's doing this and it works. So they don't learn that he's doing it because this guy's got dominate, so he's playing this. Whereas like the old precons were garbage, like unplayable. Like you couldn't sit down with them and have a game. But like, I mean, you could if everyone was playing one, but like they weren't competitive at all like these ones are. But you would have like, so I learned with the Just Guard deck. So I was like, okay, I've got Anastas out. He's got, Tremere disciplines and animalism and celerity. And the card on my hands, like Majesty. And I'm like, oh. But then I've also got in the crypt, like, Lucien the Lastor, who can play that. So I have to work out, oh, looking at my hand, actually, this guy can't play any of these cards. So I want to go for this guy and get that out. And I had to learn what the symbols meant in my first game. But I feel like a lot of new players now will play for a couple months before they even check disciplines on cards.
What's that spinny one? What's that do?
Yeah, why can't he play that? And you're like, because he hasn't got the. And they're like, what? Yeah, it requires presence. And they're like, what's presence? The star. And like, oh, I thought he just played the cards. And you're like, no. But like, you can't be rude about it because it's like, well, yeah, it's not come up because all your guys do all the things. So, yeah. Not that I want you to make shit decks. They're all Black Chantry. I quite like the good decks. But these bundles would at least make you sort of look at the different things you could do rather than just go and
it's like
mash the decks together.
It's like it follows on from what we said in the last video, yeah. Whereas Abaddon has celerity and potence, I think he has.
Yeah.
And then there's the other guy who's got Bloodthorpery. And I think they've also got celerity as well. Yeah, it's like, well, you could just build on that really easily. I can't remember anything about the Ravnos deck because it was several weeks ago when we recorded that, wasn't it?
Yeah, something.
It was nearly a month.
Nearly, I think it was 2017 that we did that.
We had to wait until we could break our NDA to release it.
Yeah. But yeah, like I can't think of anyone in the Ravnos deck that has like disciplines that are extra.
Sri Lanka's got Fortitude, right? And I think one of the other ones has it at basic.
Isn't Fortitude already in the deck anyway?
No, it's one of the old clan disciplines, but it's not now.
Okay. So, basically, something that we've noticed across all of the decks is clan impersonation is insane, and animalism combat cards are severely missing.
Yeah, I think that's because so many animalism cards have been printed already with the Nosferatu and the Gangrel, and that's another thing you can do with this. I think is maybe we're at a point now where we can have just animalism and barons. Like I feel there's got to be enough barons with animalism in to just make a deck of mono animalism barons. I don't know what it's going to do. Why is it? But animalism anarchs have got to be good, surely by now. There's so many.
Well, there
are a lot of animalism
barons. This year's Ropecon. It was beautiful. I was rushing people, hitting them for aggravated and Amaranth thing because everybody had votes. It was a beautiful concept. It did well. I went to the finals in a smaller tournament. In Ropecon, it was terrible because I was fighting against allies and so on. But
I think there's a lot of options there, and I think I'd like to see Bitcher and the Tremere Baron played a bit more. She's got basic animalism, celerity, dominate, and advanced blood sorcery. So I think there's some options there where she could splice into decks with the outward to make up for the Outferia. This one was like out of class.
I included between in my Bruja with guns kind of deck. It was between and I guess it was Elisha Tucker or somebody. The deck was going around with celerity and presence. And between was there. It was cool. I like the crypt.
I hope you had Scalpel Tongue in. I really like that.
I like Bolek says, and why not?
I forgot to mention that in the Salubri video. The card I noticed that was missing is Crocodile's Tongue.
Which is
all specs block fails unless they burn a blood, advanced thought specs, block fails unless they burn 2. So like that is just like tasty, I think, in that Salubri deck to get that extra blood on the grind. I'd love to see like how much you could build up for them to lose in one action using the Salubri. It'd be crazy.
One of my favorite interactions in the whole game is to play an action and your prey declares that Jake, what's the name of that? I keep forgetting. The ally who gets 1+1 intercept and dodges.
Carlton Banwick?
Yeah, Carlton is trying to block, and you just go like, well, hell, crocodile's tongue.
Guys,
Yeah.
I've only
Yeah,
just
thank you.
realised. I've just realised you can burn imbued for Wargles.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
True.
that's really funny. Yeah, that's quite fun. With you doing that though, I'm definitely gonna like put your third eye in.
Yeah.
Channel the. Do you want me to move my shitty fringe out the way?
No. I want it to look as terrible as possible, like just like superimpose on top in a really bad manner.
Just put up my nose as well because it's such a next level 4. It's not even up here; it's down here.
Oh my.
Right. Well, I think we're just at a point now where we're just rambling on, so we should probably call it ahead because
We are saying
for an hour.
several human words.
Yeah.
I'll start the timer.
Start the timer. Right. Okay. I felt like I had to panic and say a lot of things then, but I didn't really know what to say, so I got confused.
Yeah.
Well, thanks again for coming on. We've done a bucket load of videos in the many nights
Can I
we've been
do this
recording.
before?
We're in the same thing, of course.
Sorry. I just want to go and like. All in all, I'm quite happy that sorry, I'll go on. All in all, I'm quite happy that this clan of mini Stanislavas is somehow kept in check by the fact that there will be quite blood-starved and some of the key vampires will have some major like deficits. Just suddenly forget how to pronounce English, but that's fine. Okay, so and some of the star vampires of the deck have major drawbacks to kind of like balance out the fact that Dominate and Protean are just simply the best disciplines in the game.
Yeah, I totally agree with the segment. I think there's quite a good job of balancing some of the things here, and it'd be quite fun to see how people are going to try and break them. Unblockable Wargles.
And Jake Washington sales about to go through the roof.
Yep. Get Parliament of Shadows while you can. They're about to sell out everywhere. Thanks very much for watching. Thanks for coming on again. It's been great. And I literally could just keep going all night, but we probably shouldn't.
Mate, I'm knackered and starving. I was hoping to make food at 7 o'clock on Wednesday, four videos ago.
Oh, you mean Wednesday in July 2017?
17,
when we started recording. Yeah.
What a good week. Good week that was.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Thanks a lot, and thanks a lot. Good night.
Goodbye.